Assalamualaikum. My name is SHUHADA Mohamad SHUHAIMI, and today my group will be presenting on our research proposal, which is a study on the factors of internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah.
Assalamualaikum. My name is FATEN binti MOHD. I will start with the background of the study. According to Kim and Lee, on 2011, the internet has offered many benefits to a user with affordable and easy access that could help many areas in life. However, the internet also can cause a bad effect if the user overly attached to the internet. The excessive of internet use can be related with incapacity of the person to control the use of internet that eventually cause bad effect in a person's life. In the low-income use case, excessive internet usage may happen because the availability of the internet is easy.
I will proceed with the problem statement. The first problem that can be associated with the internet addiction disorder first one is it can affect the person's quality of life. The internet addiction can cause insomnia. It is because the excessive internet surfing will affect the one's sleeping pattern. Also, it will give the bad effect on their body. The heavy internet user tend to have changes in their body such as the weight loss, backache, and also headache. Second, it can develop high level of insecurity among the low-income students. When the low-income student cannot achieve the standard in the internet, it will lead to the feeling low self-esteem and also do not deserve to be happy. The third one is the internet addiction will also make people lose concentration on their daily work. Person who face internet addiction disorder also will face the withdrawal syndrome, which means the person will become uneasy and incomplete when do not using the internet. For it will affect the academic performance of the student. Students who are living away from their family have tendency to not discipline in using the internet. This situation will impact more on the B40 students because it will lack of knowledge to control the internet usage and also the consequences of internet addiction. The internet addiction and the Malaysian youths are at a high risk. Youths with the age range from 18 to 25 years old are identified as vulnerable to the internet addiction. According to the study in 2014, the researcher estimate that from the total world population, which is roughly 7 billion people, 6% from the people will be addicted to the internet. This amounted to 420 million people. And this data show that internet addiction is affecting the people across the globe and it should be tackled before getting worse. The research question for this study includes the first one is what is the level of internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. The second one is what is the relationship between the internet usage and the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. The third one is what is the relationship between the social influence and the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. The fourth one was what is the relationship between the emotional stability and the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. And the fifth one is what is the relationship between the accessibility and the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. And lastly, what is the most dominant factors that contribute to the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah?
There are 6 objectives on this study. First objective is examine the level of internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Second, examine the relationship between internet usage and internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Third, examine the relationship between social influence and internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Fourth, examine the relationship between emotional stability and internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Fifth, examine the relationship between internet accessibility and internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. And last objective is examine the most dominant factor that contributes to the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah.
I will continue with the conceptual framework for internet usage. According to Theo in 2001, the internet usage can be defined as all the activities that involve while using the internet. Too much of usage in the internet will cause the internet addiction, where they overly attached to the internet, as well as willing could not be without the internet by Weston in 2010. In addition, for the social influence, It can be defined as the people behavior that can change based on the environment around the person. The interaction from another individual could affect one's way of thinking and the behavior. According to Patrick ETL in 2014, it also highlights the influence of the parents and the peer toward the internet addiction. Both parents and peer play the role to contribute to the internet addiction.
For the next independent variable is emotional stability. Emotional stability is defined as the personality process to achieve better emotional health, whether physically or emotionally. In this study, emotional stability is referred to as the ability of low-income students to control their emotion in using the internet. According to the previous study on 2011, to release their tension, the students that have poor emotional stability will still depend on the internet. It is because the student use the internet to reduce their stress. The last independent variable is internet accessibility. Internet accessibility is defined as a constant ability to connect to the internet. Usually, college students have free and fast internet access. According to Cho on 2001, the students can spend more time on the internet because the student has easy access to the internet. And when they spend more time on the internet, they will become addicted to the internet.
Moving on to the research design. In this study, the quantitative method was used to carry out the research. The quantitative research generate the statistic with the survey research using the method of questionnaire.
For the sample size, we took 10% from the population. Our population is the low-income student from UiTM Kedah, and the total low-income student in UiTM Kedah is 2,000. And so, we took 200 as the sample size.
For the sampling technique, in this study, this researcher used the non-probability technique, which is the purposive sampling technique. According to Etiquette in 2016, this sampling technique aimed to get the information from the specific targeted group itself, which is the low-income student. In this research, the low-income student is regarded as the targeted group, and the researcher distribute the questionnaire to all the UiTM Kedah students that categorized under low income or B40 group.
We use like a scale to generate the questionnaire, and the scale included never, seldom, occasionally, frequently, and always.
For the data collection was conducted within 2 weeks, and the researcher used the set of questionnaire that was distributed using the Google form to the respondent in UiTM Kedah. The distribution of data is through self-administered questionnaire, and this question was in English language. The researcher also conducted the pre-testing to ensure the reliability of data collected. This questionnaire consists of 6 sections that include the demographic information as the section A, identification of internet addiction, section B, the factors of internet addiction among low-income students, which is the internet usage at the section C, social influence section D, emotional stability section E, and the accessibility as the section F.
Our study unit of analysis is referred to the low-income students in UiTM Kedah, and the student become our respondent to identify the factors of internet addiction among low-income students.
I will proceed with the finding based on the research objective. The first research objective is to examine the level of internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Based on the all item, the level of internet addiction among low-income students may be expected through the one of the item, which is I always stay in online longer than intended. Since all the items are resulted to higher mean value relative to other items, the highest mean item was 4.43. From that, the low-income students addicted to the internet when they always stay online longer than intended. The finding was supported with the previous study. According to the Chow and Hensel in 2000, the internet addiction has been described as an individual inability to control his or her use of the internet. For the second research objective, which is examine the relationship between the internet usage and the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Based on the result obtained, this show that there is strong significant relationship between the internet usage and the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. From the result, it is proved that internet use is one of the factors that affect the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. The findings supported by the previous study. According to Theo in 2010, too much time with the internet will make the person develop the withdrawal feelings. Moving on to the third research objective, which is to examine the relationship between the social influence and the internet addiction among the low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Based on the outcomes obtained on the results show that there is strong significant relationship between the social influence and the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. From the result, it's proved that social influence is one of the factors that influence the internet addiction among the low-income students in UiTM Kedah. The finding was supported by the previous studies. According to the Patrick in 2014, it showed that student influence is associated with the internet addiction.
Objective 4 is to examine the relationship between emotional stability and internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Based on the result on the table, there are strong relationship between emotional stability and internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. From the result, it proved that emotional stability is one of the factors that influence the internet addiction among low-income students at UiTM Kedah. The finding was supported by previous studies. According to BB on 2011, when faced with the difficulty, the students that have poor emotional stability will depend more on the internet. Research objective 5 is to examine the relationship between internet accessibility and internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Based on the table, we can see that there is moderate positive relationship between internet accessibility and internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. From the result, it proved that internet accessibility is one of the factors that influence the internet addiction among low-income students at UiTM Kedah. The finding was supported by the previous study. According to Cheng and Lee on 2014, the higher accessibility of the internet will promote greater participation in online activities and in turn increase one impact to internet addiction. The objective 6 is to examine the most dominant factor that contributes to internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. Among all the independent variables, internet usage is the most dominant factor. The finding confirmed that internet usage among low-income students in UiTM Kedah have a strong effect towards internet addiction. Internet usage is the most dominant factors that had been chosen by the respondent among other factors. There are 3 recommendations. The first is future study can include larger sample size of low-income students in Malaysia. Second, the questionnaire could be distributed in many languages as Malaysia is multicultural country. And last is future studies can compare the finding from the urban, suburban and rural area. There are few limitations in this study. First is generalizability issues. The sample size of this study is 200 and it is not reflect all the low-income students in Malaysia. The second limitation is this study also identify that independent variables on internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah that used by the researchers is not a strong factors to relate with the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah. The findings show that independent variables have low significant relationship, which the highest relation is only 52% to the internet addiction among low-income students in UiTM Kedah.
As a conclusion, based on the results shown, there is significant relationship between the internet usage, social influence, emotional stability, and the internet accessibility toward the factors of the internet addiction among low-income students at UiTM Kedah. The entire objectives in this study were fulfilled. From this research finding, this data can be used by the public or the private institution to implement the prevention program for the internet addiction among the low-income students. That's all from our group. Thank you.